What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today you're going to be watching the breakdown of El Matador's Ilia Topuria's style called the El Matador Hunt. And the reason we're going to be breaking this down is because he has been on a tear running through the UFC roster at featherweight. He just recently beat Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski by knockout. Everyone is raving about his boxing, and today I'm going to be breaking down what makes his hands so lethal and him so dangerous as a mixed martial artist. And in order to understand this style, there's 3 layers that I'm going to break down to his style: offensively, defensively, and more of a stagnant layer. But before even getting into any of the layers, I'm gonna talk about what combinations he likes to set up, and I'm also gonna talk about what it takes to be able to implement this style. And the first thing it takes is a very good jab. Ilia's jab is not only stiff and hard, but it's educated, the way he likes to set up the rest of his attacks, right? The jab is just off the lead hand, stepping, using that lead hand, sticking out straight, not looping or hooking, right? Another thing he has is very strong legs. This allows him to explode in and out of range, keeps a good base. And another reason why he has this good base and strong legs is because of his wrestling background, which also enables him to have this style, because people tend to back up against him. That way they're not getting caught against the cage or getting taken down by that forward pressure. So his grappling allows him to be able to go forward, sets up his hands, allows him to have those strong legs to explode in and out of range with that good jab. And then the last thing, but probably the most important part of this style that you have to have in order to implement it, is good, solid, and comfortable boxing defense. If you notice, Ilia's hands are never really extending out like you see from maybe like a Max Holloway or even a Volkanovski, who tend to have this long guard. Instead, he would actually go a little bit more towards the Philly shell. His chin is always tucked in between his shoulders. He has a tight guard, and he's constantly pressuring people. That way, even when he backs up, his legs are underneath himself. He's always balanced, and he keeps all his boxing head moving not only with his head, but with his feet. That way he's always balanced, right? So these are some of the things you need to develop in order to even try and pull off his style. But obviously it takes years of understanding what he's trying to do as well, which leads us into some of his combinations. Some of his favorite combinations to use are almost all starting off with the jab, right? He might double up the jab and finish with the right hand, like a 1-1-2. He will also commit on a 1-2-3 combination. These aren't very complicated combinations, but they're effective, and they're all majority boxing combinations. And then his most favorite combination that he'll like to do is the 2-3-2, which is just a cross, a left hook, and a cross. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get into the way he likes to set this up. Okay, so now for the first layer of Ilia Topuria's style, this one we're gonna go ahead and call the offensive hunt. And what Ilia immediately out of the gate starts to do before every fight is immediately he looks to come forward and he looks to really establish his jab, right? You'll see him cover up with his right hand, boom, as he pops that jab, boom, boom. And that's the first battle he's looking to win, right? He wants to establish that range. He wants to get them going backwards, which they often do already because of his wrestling background. But he's looking to establish this. And if they are willing to stay in the pocket, he's either looking to have a couple of strong jabs, or he's attacking the body. And the reason he does this is to get the feet moving, right? If you're just going up at the head, they can easily lean out of range, right? If I'm just trying to attack his head, sometimes I can't reach it. But one thing that doesn't move is the body, unless the feet are moving. So if I'm going after the body, now he has to start moving the feet. Now he's going backwards, right? And it'll lead them into other things. One of the things that it will lead them into is if they're going backwards, eventually they're gonna hit the cage, right? Where we see Ilia have a lot of his opponents. But once they hit the cage, they either have to go left or they go right. You only have 2 ways, or forward and get knocked out. But so he'll get them going back, and then their backs against the cage. And this is where he's setting up his combinations. If they go right, he's gonna be setting up that 2-3-2, and where he's coming over the guard. And he's gonna look to keep putting them into his power side. He'll just lead them off like this, constantly stepping to the outside of their back leg, leading them with the jab. They don't really want to commit. So he's boom, boom, boom. You'll see him go to the body with it. You'll see him go to the body. 1, 2, 1, 2. You'll see him go to the head. 1, 2, 3, 2. And you'll also see him jabbing, and then just straight up throw a 2, 3, 2. This is very offensive. This is usually what you see him do at the beginning of the fights in order to start getting them going backwards and respecting his power. And this is why you see him able to go forward so much. Now, what most people do is they don't want to go into his power side, his right hand, right? So instead of circling this way, they'll be circling this way once their back is against the cage, right? So he's jabbing. Eventually, they start circling, right? This is where he sets up his body shots, right? So he'll 1, 2 up high, 3 down low. He will also 1 up high, 2 down low, and 3. He's running you into all of his shots. So he's constantly chasing you around the ring, right? They're going backwards. They don't want to be hit. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, he might cut you off this way. Boom, boom, boom. But it's an offensive hunt leading you into each of his very powerful hands. And when he's on this offensive hunt, because he has so much momentum going forward and throwing with so much power, that oftentimes when he does miss, and this is one of the downfalls, you'll see him miss so much that he's over-rotated and has to reset. But at least they know he's throwing with power and they don't want to get hit by that, right? Now, moving in to the second layer of Ilia Topuria's style. This is his defensive hunt, to where he's, again, using the jab, but this time he's looking for something else. He's not constantly coming forward. He already has his range. Right now, he's constantly looking to set the timing, right? He's using his jab. He's feinting low. You'll see a lot of his opponents start trying to use their feints as well. Just go ahead and feint, right? So, and he's looking to find that timing. He's moving just like they're moving. And then once he finds that timing, he could go. You'll constantly see him matching their levels, stepping when they step, and things like that. Subtle things that you don't really notice in the middle of a fight unless you're the opponent facing him, right? Now, as he's striking and what he's looking for with this jab, he's already established his jab. Now he's looking to throw it right in front of his face and pull back. And there's a couple of combinations he looks for, but he's, again, constantly walking them around. This is for when they start thinking they're gonna stand their ground. He pulls. He looks to draw out some of their attacks. And when he does, usually it's that jab that comes out first, right? So he'll jab, he'll draw, and when that jab comes out, he'll slip inside, looking to go for that 2, 3, and 2 again, either inside or over the top of that jab, right? So again, he's jabbing, boom, jab, pull, boom, 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 right? And he draws them into that 2, 3, 2 combination. A lot of times he'll also just go underneath inside of that jab, right? They go the jab, he'll slip inside and throw it. And he always makes sure he keeps that lead hand up in case anything else is coming. But he is looking to get off first, which is why he's not really worried about that backhand so much, right? Another thing he'll do is if he's actually backing up, right? Because again, this is a defensive hunt, right? He's not looking to come forward. He's either looking to draw you in or he's looking to be able to circle out or counter, right? It's more of a defensive fighting approach. So say he's on the back foot, he's jabbing and pulling. Again, jabbing, pulling, everything's with the legs, his strong legs. And he jabs, again, they try and counter. Coming afterwards, he looks for these uppercuts, right? So let me turn to this side so you can see. So he'll jab, and you saw this against Josh Emmett. He'll jab, pull as they come. 1, 2, and 3. That's a 6. That's an uppercut, lead hook, cross. So again, he'll boom, 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 boom as he steps inside of that jab. Once again, a lot of it is coming inside of the jab rather than outside. He'll go outside just to keep establishing his jab, or maybe even instead of slipping outside, if you just put it here, he'll just parry, boom, and establish his jab. But again, this is when he's looking to set up his big power shots, countering the jab, going to the body, going over the top, going inside of the jab with that right hand. So again, you have the jab and draw into the 2, 3, and 2, or you have the jab, draw into the 6, 3, 2, okay? Now, moving on to his third layer of his style, and this is what brings everything together. This is the one thing that that he runs into quite a bit as of late, is people being stationary on him. not moving forward on him, not moving backward based off of his jab, but instead just trying to stay there and trying to counter him. Not counter him by coming forward, but more like a Conor McGregor counter, right? They're just looking to step back and do damage with him coming forward with the combinations, right? Very frustrating to go against because they don't give you much, especially for his style. But he deals with this in a very simple way. So you're just staying there, right? Don't come forward, just like try and counter like Conor. So I'm jabbing. He's not giving me anything. Okay, boom. And he'll go to the calf and it's always open because they're heavy on that lead leg. So he's here, boom, boom. He sees they're not really trying to commit on anything. Boom, and he'll just take out from underneath him. And you see him fall off balance like that all the time, right? He did it against Josh Emmett. He just did it against Max Holloway. I think he did it against Volk a couple of times, right? But this is what I like to call his stationary reset, because now that they felt it, now they're either going to be lifting that leg up to try and check, right? Which lets them be stationary so he can commit on combinations. Or they're just gonna get out of the way and start moving around. That way they're not getting kicked. And then it leads them to his other combinations. Right, so we have his offensive hunt, his defensive hunt, and the last one, his stationary reset, which comes in handy in order to stop people from being able to counter him back. Another unique thing that Ilia Topuria is able to get away with that not a lot of fighters can is backing straight up. And you'll see this and you'll think it's a flaw, but he's able to do this because he's already put so much of pressure on his opponent that they're up against the wall, that when they start trying to attack him, again, he'll just back straight up and look to lead them into his shots, right? If you're backed up against the cage and you're going backwards, now you have to start circling and you can't get that same freedom to move straight back. But when your pressure is someone, that's when you're able to go off, cut an angle, and set up your different attacks like that. Another thing he'll do when backing up is he keeps his legs underneath himself and he doesn't switch stances. You'll see this a lot from defensive like kickboxers. When they're backing up, they're switching stances to avoid the leg kicks and to check and to also get out of range and be able to counter from other stances. But the reason he's able to throw with so much power is because he stays in that same stance. He's very disciplined when boxing, and it allows him to not only just back straight up, but then sit down, boom, 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 and throw with a lot of power. So these are the types of things that Ilia Topuria does to implement his El Matador hunting style, and how he's been able to overcome some of the most difficult puzzles to solve in mixed martial arts in that featherweight division in Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Josh Emmett. So guys, hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you could take something away from it. Again, I'm going to be doing more breakdowns like this, so name the fighters you want to see broken down in the comment section down below. Hopefully you like this video. Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. That's not what happened. We can have it now or later. Now or later. Which one do you want? Later? Okay. Later? Alright.